The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Barack Hussein Obama,
I,
do solemnly swear.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear
That I will execute the office of President to the United States faithfully.
that I will execute
The office of President of the United
office of
States.
President of the United States faithfully.
Oh, God. It was so awkward. Remember that? I was there. It was like, oh, what's happening? I have to know, but I feel uncomfortable. It was a little snafu by Chief Justice John Roberts and then by President Obama, who was understandably confused during the oath of office. Chief Justice, don't try to memorize it. Just read it. No one's going to hold it against you. They wound up having to do it again, a redo, the next day, quietly, just in case the oath wasn't official and he wasn't really our president. They just wanted to make sure they'd crossed all the T's. Interestingly enough, they will also have to do the oath twice this time around. That's because the president's term ends on Sunday, when inaugural ceremonies historically do not take place. You can't have the big pomp and circumstance. I don't know if you go by history. Anyway, now we're having two. So they'll make his second term official on Sunday, and then we'll have the big pomp and circumstance swearing in on Monday at the Capitol. So the president gets 4 swearings in. And as he gets ready to start his second term, we are seeing an eye-opening new poll that finds that more than a third of the country believes the president may be hiding something about his background or early life. So what does that say about our faith in government, not to mention the media? Marjorie Clifton is a former consultant to the Obama campaign and a principal at Clifton Consulting. And Tucker Carlson is editor-in-chief of The Daily Caller. You remember? It was like, oh, God, they screwed up the oath. It's like the one thing the Chief Justice had to do. And then, poor Barack Obama, because he's just trying to repeat. I'm sure he's nervous. Anyway, let's hope it goes better this time around. What does it mean, Tucker? I mean, 30% of the country believes Barack Obama is hiding. 36 believes he's hiding something about his background in early life. And it's not all Republicans. It's a handy amount of independents also believe that.
Well, that's true. The same poll showed 36% of Democrats think Bush was part of the 9/11 conspiracy. So there are lots of conspiracy theories floating around. It's a complicated world. People use these theories to explain it when they don't understand it. I would say the real mystery is not where Obama's from. Who cares? It's his motives in doing the things he does. So he said Obamacare would reduce health care costs. It didn't. He said raising taxes on the rich would balance the budget. It didn't. He now says banning rifles with certain cosmetic features will prevent school shootings when he knows that's not true. So the real mystery is his motive. Why is the president pushing policies? Because his stated explanations don't make sense. I think people actually do have a right to that answer, and I don't even know what it is.
Marjorie, is this because, you hear people talk about, was he born in Kenya? Is he a Muslim? Or is this because Barack Obama has some inability to, sound like the common man in the way Bill Clinton did and sort of break through the veneer and say, I'm a regular guy, trust me, I was born in Hawaii?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I mean, you have to look at it. He is a different kind of president than we've ever seen. He's an African-American man to start with. He's also a little bit more academic. He's one of those people that sort of internalizes and processes things before he comes out and states his policy. Very different than President Bush and Clinton, who were about nicknames and joked around a little bit more and were a little bit more overt. And he's very protected, rightfully so, with his family. But look, he's a man who's written 2 books about his lives. He's been vetted through 2 presidential campaigns, which Tucker, working on campaigns, we go to great lengths to try to dig up any dirt we can. So I don't think there's much dirt to be found. But I will say things like Trump and Donald Trump and others who've come forward to try to create question do create a buzz in the media, which does impact public opinion. I mean, maybe we have a little other Manti Te'o scandal on our hand. There's like a dead girlfriend somewhere we need to find out about.
There was a composite girlfriend in Barack
yes, there
Obama's
was.
autobiography, right? So I mean,
great.
You're not too far off there. But wait, let me ask you this, Tucker, because people have doubts apparently about his background and early life. They believe he's hiding important information about his background and early life. How much of this has to do with, there was a whole controversy over whether he needed to release his college transcripts. And we do know precious little about his college years and, who were his friends and who are the folks that he spent that time with.
Yeah.
I mean, should we not be so dismissive of the 36% of Americans who still have some questions about that?
Well, my principal objections to the Obama administration have to do with the policies they're putting forward, including and especially the gun control legislation they outlined the other day. However, I think it's interesting that he hasn't answered basic questions about his background. I'm not sure how relevant it is. It wouldn't change, speaking for myself, my view of his political ideas, which are wrong. But I still think he deserves to be asked those questions. And to Marjorie's point that he was vetted, he was not vetted, actually, very effectively by the press. We know virtually nothing. The average person knows nothing about, say, his voting record in Illinois as a state senator. And the truth is that most reporters felt in 2008 and even in 2012 that it was pretty important that this guy be elected president, that he was a historic figure, he was a good guy, he's sort of one of us, he's an academic, he's an intellectual. And they didn't actually do a deep dive on Barack Obama. There were very few hard-nosed reporters in those campaigns. I was there, trust me.
But okay, maybe not on the reporter side, but you have to think about it on the counter campaign side. You know that they dug and overturned any rock they could find to get any dirt on him, and especially given the whole birther movement and everything associated with that, there was a lot of accountability the campaign. And look, Mitt Romney didn't want to release his tax records. I mean, why would a politician give more information than's needed? And I would say he likes to stand on his policy. I know you disagree with them, but I think that, is there something to hide? I think it's more about the unknown of people like us, and he is not like maybe that 30% of Americans who think, there may be something there. But
well, I think it's interesting. Tucker points out 25% believe that President Bush had something to do with the 9/11 terrorist attack.
Exactly.
So is there just a contingent in the country?
Absolutely.
I mean, we're seeing people believe now that the Newtown shootings were made up.
Megan, this is like what People magazine and keeps, reality TV and we've got to have some kind of intrigue in life or we just get bored. And so, I mean, he's in a great...
Go ahead, Tucker.
No, I think that's right, but it's deeper than that. I mean, here's the Tea Party is actually right. Most of the power in the country is concentrated in a relatively few number of hands, and it's a very complex series of systems that run the world, and most people don't understand them, and they're frustrated by that, and they resort, sadly in my view, but to sometimes fantastical conspiracy theories to explain them. But there are a lot of things about Obama that were ignored by the press. We aired a video of him calling the federal government racist in its response to Katrina. Nobody reported on that during the campaign. They just ignored it. So he wasn't vetted.
Well, for what it's worth, the poll was conducted of 814 registered American voters. I don't know, whether that's a huge sample or not, but in any event, we leave it at that.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.